Overall, a fun day in the markets in here, to say the very least. Volatility upon more volatility. That's kind of what we thought was going to happen. Obviously, the question was, what was the market going to do with news that it already knew was going to happen, right? So we already knew what to expect with Warsh coming in today. We already know that we're not getting a cut here anytime soon. So the question was, how was the market going to react to that? And actually, we had a nice little push in our Qs and our Futes last night, due mainly to AMD and Micron and things like that. Nice little pre-market pop that we had in here. And even at market open, I thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. We might stay up here for just a little while before we actually start pulling back. And then obviously it was quicker than I thought. So we came back down. We had another little sharp little jump in there, up to 753, and then immediately it got sold off in there and then kind of just fizzled out until 2 o'clock. Obviously 2 o'clock, that's when the volatility came in, and then we had a big pullback. That first sharp jump to 745, figured that was going to happen. Obviously, it's not good news for the market, right? It's not what they want to hear, but I figured that it would get eaten up. It did. It got bought up very, very quickly. And then by 245, we were back up trading at that 749 resistance. Then the crazy part happened where we pulled back. I thought, hey, okay, we're just going to go back, revisit those 745s. Obviously, market had different ideas and different plans. And then we actually were trading in those 739s just before that 4 o'clock. So going forward, what are we looking at in here? Because we got that volatility, we kind of got that overshooting there with that big pullback towards the end of the day. I'm looking at that as, hey, that was a gift in here to get a little bit long everywhere. Take your whole portfolio. You kind of got long delta in there now. So take advantage of that. We might get a little bit of a gap up going tomorrow. That's what it's looking like so far. We're going to see where Futes kind of lead us tonight, especially once Asia opens. That might give us a kind of a heads up of how things might be trading overnight. But again, it's all going to come down to pre-market tomorrow and how things are going to be affected in there. So what do we do with something that we know we're going to have an upcoming 3-day weekend, right? People usually they don't like to hold, especially have a whole lot of long delta over a long weekend just because of what could happen. So usually on shortened weeks, we get a nice little slow little bullish push. And then by Friday, we're just kind of flatten out, right? The problem is with this week, we had that big gap up over the past weekend, and now it's kind of changing everything. And obviously, with what we had here today at 2 o'clock, that is changing things as well. So we're going to see how much of a pop we get in here tomorrow. And then the question is, are we going to sell that off, or are we going to hold? Because we do have good news coming up, right? Friday is going to be the peace deal being signed, although there were rumors about it being today. That's kind of what kept the market being propped up as well. So if we do have a good news event coming up, is this going to be a buy the rumor and sell the news event, or are we just going to sell it off before it even happens? So that is going to be the overarching question, what is going to happen. But on the weekly chart, what we're going to look at here trend wise, 749, this is going to be our harsh resistance in here. We're going to see if we can get above that. Anything above there, we're up here at those 760s easily. To the downside in here, what are we looking at? 738 is going to be on deck, although 739 was the number today. So keep that in mind. But 738 is going to be our main support. Anything below there, 9-day EMA sitting at 731. And then outside of that, it is going to be 724. We're going to look at the NASDAQ in here really quick as well. More or less, this is where your volatility is coming from in the Qs. You can see that we're overshooting to the downside. We're overshooting to the upside in here. Your tolerances, expected moves are bigger in your Qs. It's been like that for the past few weeks. Obviously, that has a lot to do with the big names in there that can't seem to buy a downtick except for today. And then it gets bought up and then it just shoots right back up even higher, right? So let's see what happens in here in our Qs. That is going to give us an idea, a little tip of the hat of how things could shake out as we're going into this long weekend. What we're looking at in here to the downside, 722 flat. We're basically sitting right on that right now. Outside of that, 711. Then we're looking at that 700 cycle level. That's where your 9-day EMA is. In anything to the upside, 738, and then that high that has come in at the 748 area. We're also going to take a look at TLT in here. This is kind of like what we like to do with our full market overview. We like to take a look at the bonds. We like to take the Qs as well as SPY in here. To the upside, we are looking at that 50-day SMA at 87.65 in here. That's going to be this line right here. To the downside, it's going to be that 9-day EMA sitting at 85.78. Anything outside of that, it is going to be that $85 level. Bonds up, market down. That is kind of what we like to see and what we expect to see. And that means that our correlation is in working order. We're going to take a look at Tesla in here really quick, just because this is going to give you a good gauge of how the overall Mag 7 could view things, especially as it pertains to the Qs. And also, we have to take into consideration SpaceX now. And it looks like a lot of people are trading with a correlation that's exactly 1-to-1 in here from Tesla to SpaceX. So when SpaceX goes up, Tesla goes up, SpaceX down, Tesla down, etc. So this is going to be, Tesla's going to be doing a lot of work for us in here going forward as far as watching our overall correlations with multiple markets in here. To the downside, what are we looking at in here? We are going to be looking at the lower trend line of this overall structure, 780, or I'm sorry, 380. To the upside in here, we have basically that 400 psych level. That is kind of what we're looking at. That's where your moving averages all are kind of lining up in here. Your 9-day EMAs wrapped around it. Your 50-day SMA, it's all right there. Anything outside of that, we are going to be looking at that 414 area. And then obviously above that, we're looking at that almighty 441 that it seems like we've been talking about for quite some time. So let's see what happens in here overall in the markets. Little pop could be coming tomorrow pre-market. So we're going to see how much profit taking is going to come off that. And then is more volatility going to be kicking in or not? That is going to be the overarching question. So let's see what happens in here as we continue and end this shortened week.